Hey everyone, welcome back to CyberSecurityTV. Hit the like button if you like this video and hit the subscribe button to receive the more content. So this is AWS Security episode 7 and today we're going to discuss about the IAM, which is Identity Access Management. I will be talking about the different components of the IAM. Of course, we'll start with the base, which is the IAM Root User. Now, the root user is created when the AWS account is created. So when you sign up for the AWS account, maybe a free tier or enterprise version, you get a one user, which is sort of like a root user, and the root user has all the permissions within the AWS console. So he gets pretty much full admin access. Now the best practices. Today I'm gonna also discuss about what's the best practice. So for example, if you are security architect like cloud architect or maybe infrastructure, you're in the DevOps and you are assigned to do some AWS architecture handling, then I'll give you some best practices on how you should create the accounts and how you should manage the different components of the AWS or the IAM specifically, so you can also put it into the practice. So for the IAM root user, just make sure, although you get this account when you sign up, but you're not using the same account for day-to-day work. So you have to create a new account for work, daily activities, because if that account gets compromised and perhaps let's say if you're using admin accounts for day-to-day activities, if accounts get compromised, then whoever is the attacker can get the full access of the AWS, which we do not want. You should not keep the access keys. So when you sign up, we'll see in a moment on the AWS dashboard that you can delete the access keys. So you don't have to worry about storing it securely or keeping it secure, because if someone gets hand to it, that's going to be really challenging. Rather, what you can do is you can enable the multi-factor authentication. So use your complex password and then configure your MFA, which you can use the Google Authenticator, or there are a few other options within the management console. We'll see in a moment, but yeah, that's something I highly recommend doing it rather than having accessing with the keys. Next thing we're going to talk about the users. So of course, when you have the root user, let's say you are the admin and now you have tasks to create the users within the IAM. So how it works is when you create the user, the implicit, and this is I like the most about the AWS. So by default, the user does not get any permission. So it's like implicit deny, and unless you add a policy or grant specific access, the user does not have any access. Uh, each user gets like a unique credentials. Yeah, they can also get like the access keys, or you can customize the password, or AWS gives some random password to the user. Now, if the user, you set the user to kind of deny, and then you also have a policy which is allowing all the access, then the deny policy will override the allow one, which is good because you want to take the measures and make sure the user does not get any permission which he or she should not have. Now, the best practices is you should never store the access credentials to the EC2 instance, rather use SSH forwarding. Same as the root user, make sure you have the multi-factor authentication enabled or required for the user accounts. And the access credentials are unique and should never be shared. This is sort of like a best practice or standard for any credential should not be shared with anyone else. And then lastly, we're going to talk about, before we jump onto the demo, we'll talk about the groups. Now, you have a user, of course, you have multiple users who need access for so and so reason. So what you can do is you can define the different groups, and the benefit of that being is it's going to be more organized and efficient. So for example, you have multiple departments, let's say admin, finance, HR, DevOps, dev, production, QA, different groups within your company. And then what you want to do is you want to assign users to the specific group, so you can manage the permissions of the entire group rather than going for the individual user. Just imagine if you have to change the permission. If you have 100 users in the AWS and you have to change the permission, it's going to be a massive task and prone to mistakes if you are doing that individually. So rather just create the groups, assign or put the user into the group and then assign the policies. uh, that's like what the definition of the IAM users, groups, and root user. And let's jump on to the AWS console and see how it all works. uh, all right, so this is our management console, and let's click on the IAM, and here you'll be able to see so this is the security status. I think we reviewed briefly in the last episode 6, where it says, like, one of the things was delete your root access keys, right? So which I already did it, but that was one of the best practice. Like when you sign up, and I'm right now the admin on this account, I do not have any user, but yeah, that's why you can see these check marks. Another thing is you can do the multi-factor authentication. Now for the multi-factor, there are other options like a virtual authenticator app, which I talked about, like the Google Authenticator or something you can do. We're not going to enable it right now because this is just a demo account and does not have any information. Now, next thing is create IAM users. If you are signing up the first time, you would see this is yellow or red, but I created the user some time ago. As you can see, there is a test user, but I can create one more. What you have to do is just type the username. What kind of access does the user or the user should have. Now, password, it can be auto-generated by the AWS, or you can create the custom password, like whatever you want, test, or like whatever password you want. And then of course you have to check this box, like so user can select its own password the first time he or she is logging in. So once you do that, go next to permission. Here you will see 3 options. Add a user to the group, right? Right now I think, yeah, I have one test group which has the administrator access, so I can do that. I can assign that user to this group and the user will have the admin access. You can also copy permission from the other user, which is the previous user which I had the test, or you can attach the policy without adding the user, which is not recommended, but of course you can do that. So let's attach this administrator access and then go to next. This is optional if you want to add it. We don't want to. Let's review everything is correct. Yes, and then create the user. So now we have the user created, and as you can see, this is where you can give this link to the user, and user can and you can also see there's an access key for this user as well, right? So you can see how the user can be created, or user can log into the account. Now let's go back to the IAM and see the groups. Okay, manage groups. I know we already have one group, so I'm just gonna click on that, and let's add user to this group. We have 2 users, and both of them are, let's suppose there's an admin user, so I'm gonna add a user here, right? And permission, of course, there is one policy. You can also see the policy, like it's star resources star action. That means this is the admin access, they can do everything. And here's the access advisor. Of course, you can, like go into detail. You can see what was accessed and when it was accessed by whom and everything, right? That's about the groups. Now, one other thing I want to talk about is the password policy, because that's important. Like you want to make sure they have the complex password set up. So here it says minimum password is 8-line character. You can also change it and, like make it more complex, like non-alphanumeric. enable the password expiration and all those things. Again, I'm not doing this because this is a demo account, but yeah, it's a basic practice that you have to do it. And then also you can make it more granular in a way that if you have multiple region, you can deactivate that access to a specific region, like you only allow access to, let's say, Asia Pacific or EU, like wherever the user belongs to. So those are the things you can do with the IAM. Of course, we'll talk in detail. We'll go in depth onto the other security aspects of the AWS, but this is just to get started. I would like you to go ahead and sign up for the AWS, which is for a free tier, and try this out and let me know how you feel about it, and if you run into any trouble or if you have any other recommendation. If not, thank you so much for your time and watching this video. Subscribe to my channel for more content, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.